It is another YCDP weekend. So last night, today is Saturday, and I'm out here at the Dave Lyle protest, as you can see in the background. Not quite as big as 2 weeks ago, not last week, 2 weeks ago, the nationwide No Kings protest, but still a lot of people out here, a lot of enthusiasm, and we're going to talk to some folks in a little bit more depth than we have in previous programs. And then we're going to go back to yesterday, Friday night, when York County Democratic Party had the Forward Together party with a lot of people there and some talks by some of the candidates, and we will listen to what those candidates have to say to us. And that will be this episode of the York County Democratic Party YouTube show and podcast. We like to call it YCDP TV. Get that thing out of here. Savanna, we're Facebook friends.
Yes, I made friends with you on Facebook. I requested you.
And I brought you over here a little bit away from the activity so we could talk just a little bit longer. I wanted to talk about youth, but you brought a gray beard with me.
Oh, no. Yeah, sorry about that. Not as many young people today, but, you know, if you were here 2 weeks ago, there was a fantastic crowd of all ages out here.
I was here 2 weeks ago. Yeah. I made television out of it. You waved at me.
I waved at you on the golf cart with Matt Ballard. Did I say his last name right?
You did. You're one of the few people that can.
I've been practicing.
I think I actually look pretty good for 97, but, you know.
Yeah, okay. I'm 75. How do we compete?
How do we compete on
age?
On age? Yeah, I'm 97. No, I'm kidding. I'm 44. Yeah.
Okay, so you're a little prematurely gray.
It gets worse if I take the hat off. But
put it back on.
75, no gray hair.
Hey, I'm impressed.
Also, no hair.
I'm not 75.
I was gonna say it is rude to ask a woman her age.
I'm 35.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're not a kid.
I'm not a baby. I just play one on TV.
Yeah. Got the baby face.
Yeah.
I am out here for my 16-year-old though.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you want to.
Where the heck's your 16-year-old?
Pardon?
Where's your 16-year-old?
She's busy today, but I'm out here for her. I'm out here on her behalf. I want to make sure that she has a better world and a better future. So.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. So, I didn't know how old you are. I was going to guess, like mid-20s, maybe even.
I get that a lot. That's
but
okay.
we'll have you represent what generation is your age now? What? Gen X?
I'm a millennial.
Millennial.
Like
okay.
a full-blown millennial.
Yeah, I'm a boomer, and of course, I don't care about anybody else.
Yeah, no, I think you're not very boomery, are you? My dad's a boomer, but
I really try not to be.
But yeah, it's fine. It's good.
So I guess the question is, Trump's getting the younger people, or at least we thought he was. What's the deal?
I don't know. I don't know how anybody is falling for his nonsense. It's insane. If you think, I don't know how you can believe any of it, if that makes sense.
Is it maybe they're not thinking, it's just a cool factor?
God, I hope it's not cool, but they're not thinking. That is exactly what the problem is. People aren't thinking, and they're not learning about what's going on. They're just staying complacent and silent. And
I guess I might have the wrong gender here. You're not one of the bros.
I'm not a bro.
Do you understand the bros?
I understand the bros. I don't agree with any of them, but I'm also in marketing. And so some of the things that the Republican Party has managed to do strategically, little sound bites, messaging through the right channels on social media and things like that. And we've got to do better about that. Much like, you being out here and getting things on YouTube, I think is a great start. But, getting messaging out on TikTok, getting messaging out in the places where the youth actually are is going to be the thing that we've got to do better about if we're going to change things. That, I think, is how he's managed to sway some of the younger people who don't, their intellect isn't fully formed yet. They see things, they absorb things, and we've got to be in those places. We got to get our message in those places.
Your intellect is fully formed, right?
My intellect is fully formed. I believe it's 25. Is that when your brain
25,
is?
Yeah. 25.
Brain is fully developed.
So, how did you evolve into being activist? You're out here every weekend.
I am out here every weekend. So, a while back, they were talking about the Lake and Riley Act, and I had been reading a lot of books. I've been on a nonfiction kick for
for people
a while.
like me who have heard that name but don't really remember exactly what it is. What is it?
It led to where we are now with ICE being able to detain people with no reason, really. It removed Fourth Amendment rights from anybody who's not white. It passed, and I was like, shit, we're headed in a bad direction with this.
So that was kind of an inflection point for you.
Yeah, and then
were you like non-committed much before that?
I think I was just not educated yet, but like I said, I sought out the knowledge and I read about things. I read a lot of books. I read White Trash, which is a great book. Read it. I read, what was the one I was just talking? The new Jim Crow. Read that. Oh God. It'll make you believe that we need to just totally reboot this whole country.
All right, so those things flip the switch, and now you are here.
Yes.
All right. How long have you been activist?
It depends on how you define activist. So I've been a social media, Facebook loudmouth activist for a very long time.
Keyboard warrior.
Absolutely a keyboard warrior in the worst and the best sense of the word, I think. But I've realized at this point that the algorithms, the way that they are now, that really we're only being shown on social media the things we already kind of tend to agree with. So that's really not a place where it can have as much impact anymore. So I'm out here now instead, because it's hard to ignore a bunch of people when you're sitting in an intersection waiting for a red light. If you're out here in their presence, in their face, it's hard for them to turn that off. There's no algorithm that's going to route them around, Dave Lyle Blvd to get them to avoid us.
Google Maps isn't saying protest ahead.
No, yeah, they haven't added that feature yet, as far as I can tell. So, this is a place where even if it's only for 30 seconds, someone driving down the street that may not agree with us right now, or may not even have an opinion yet, we can influence that and kind of get the message in front of other people. That's why I'm out here now instead of behind the keyboard. Okay,
so if they're sitting at the stoplight, they might be able to read all of your sign.
Maybe. Yeah, I think the important part, if they can only read the bottom, that kind of reminds us that removing Trump is only one step, that we've also got to change the people below him, beside him, around him, and everywhere else, the people that think like him. That it's not enough to remove Trump. We've got to get rid of, Musk has kind of already faded into the background, but Ralph Norman.
His money has.
Yeah, exactly. Ralph Norman's got to go too. Lindsay Graham has had forever to make good change in South Carolina, and he's a windsock. Every time the wind changes, it goes another direction. So he's been around forever, and he hasn't done anything. So
are you guys native South Carolinian?
No, I'm from Vancouver, Washington. I moved here when I was 19, in 2009, I guess. So I guess I was...
Yeah. Born and raised in Richland, Lexington County. I've lived outside of South Carolina for 3 of my 44 years. I've been here almost my entire life.
Okay, so you understand the native part.
I do. I absolutely do.
And you've been around long enough that you're getting it. You got bi-coastal background.
Well, I came from... We were just north of Portland, Oregon, so it's like liberal land. And then I moved to the south.
First of all, we can see how your politics developed because of the environment you grew up in, and then the culture shock when you hit down here.
Well, that's an interesting thing. I don't know that I would be as liberal as I am if I did not come here and realize the necessity of being liberal, because I don't know, it was easier to be comfy and not feel like stuff was wrong there because we didn't see it the way that we see it here.
And how did you not just kind of get thoroughly dipped in red?
I was thoroughly dipped in red when I was younger. I actually came to Rock Hill to attend Winthrop, and I think that was the start of seeing things differently for me. I'm from the sticks. I grew up down a dirt driveway, off a dirt road, in the middle of the woods, in the middle of nowhere. And if that was all I had ever seen, I probably would have some slightly different views than I have. But I came to Winthrop. I started meeting different kinds of people. I started reading things that I had never read, and it didn't change what I thought, but it expanded the ways that I think. And I think that was the start of change for me. So I give Winthrop a lot of credit for.
That's interesting, because one of the issues of the folks on the right in terms of colleges is it's turning out liberals, and I guess your testimony.
Well, in a way, except the idea there is that they think that we're being indoctrinated somehow. I also taught at York Tech for over a decade, and the idea that instructors or professors can indoctrinate students is absolutely absurd. We're lucky if we can get them to read and do the assignments. So anyone who thinks that college is indoctrinating their children they're completely off base. What we're doing is helping them expand the way that they're thinking. We're introducing them to different kinds of people, and if their minds change during that time, that's because of their expansion of the way that they think. It's nothing to do with liberal instructors somehow brainwashing students into thinking differently. It's impossible. It's not just something we don't try to do. It's not possible. We're lucky if we can get them to read the syllabus and do their homework. I mean, seriously.
Did school influence you?
I think that what school does is it teaches you to think critically, and that's, you don't teach them to think differently. You just say question.
Winthrop has a course called Critical Reading, Thinking, and Writing, and that course was developed after I finished. But I actually taught it for a couple of years, which again I think further expanded my ability to understand how I think and how other people think, not what we think, but how we think about things.
How did students take to a course that says critical thinking and writing?
They absolutely hated it.
Was it a required course?
It was a required course. It still is, as far as I know. It's part of the Touchstone core at Winthrop. But the initial reaction coming in was, why do I have to take this? What does this have to do with my major? What am I going to do with this? But
how did they come out of it?
Halfway through the semester, you could see the light bulb starting to turn on. Again, not teaching them what to think, and many times, what they wrote exhibited that their actual thoughts or conclusions hadn't changed that much, but they had a better understanding of how they arrived at those conclusions. The one rule in my class, and this wasn't just for critical thinking, was, can you support it? If you can find evidence to support whatever you want to argue, I'm here for it. I'm here to have my mind expanded also. If you can show me evidence, things to back up the things that you want to argue, I'm here for it all day long. That's the only rule. And that is, I think, especially important in what seems to be becoming like a post-factual world, reminding people that you can't just say things and make them true. You have to be able to support them somehow.
Which we're seeing a lot of not happening these days.
That is absolutely right. So that's the thing I'd love to see change the most. It's just people getting back to thinking about, should I believe, like applying a little bit of critical thought and saying, does this actually make sense? What's being said, is this supportable? Is this something that actually makes sense with everything else I know about the world in my life?
Okay, so you guys were here 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
No, you were.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So it's smaller.
Yeah.
Pretty much we expected that.
Yeah.
Last 2 weeks ago was a national push. Everybody was supposed to be out. So does this turn out?
I think it's still pretty good. Yeah, we had some smaller ones leading up to the last one, the national one, and I think that I'm happy to see that we haven't dwindled.
Okay, but your sign is promoting get out here every other week.
Yep, every other week.
And by the way, I have learned that the term bi-weekly can mean either twice a week or every 2 weeks. So
that's why I didn't put it on. I didn't say bi-weekly.
Isn't English a glorious language?
I love it.
Lots of words that mean multiple things.
Yeah.
I went to school for English literature and creative writing. Yep. So I do like words a lot.
Well, thank you guys. Appreciate you coming over into the shade to talk to me.
Yeah.
And I'll put you back on the front lines. Anything else you want to say?
Just thank you for being out here. Thank you for trying to get the message out, again, beyond whoever drives through Rock Hill today.
I say just please come out. We have more dates coming out. You will not regret it. Nobody comes out and tells me, damn, I wish you didn't make me do that, Savanna.
Yeah. And say hi to my new friend, Savanna, and you are?
I'm Will.
And my friend Will. Yeah. Thank you, guys.
No problem. Thank you.
All right, so if I do this, what do you do? Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Boom 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 boom. Somebody else knows what we're talking about.
Oh, yeah,
There-
totally.
There's also there's something like the funky chicken. I don't know what that is.
I don't know that one either.
Your wings, feet start kicking. Now you know, doing the funky chicken.
Okay, you said the chicken costume,
I did.
and you're sickened to the shade.
I am. This is hot as shit, Gary. I think this is my last costume for a while.
All right, but let's see. Is this a chicken-oriented?
No, I was trying to do it so I wasn't wasting so many signs. I can at least reuse this one.
If you were to make a chicken sign, can you think of what it might be?
Cluck off my Constitution, you know?
That's pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, just plain old. Well, it's taco. Trump always chickens out.
He totally does always. The worst thing with the taco thing, though, is I
like tacos.
I do love tacos. I don't want to think about him when I'm getting a good taco. But I mean, even aside from that, I want him to chicken out. I don't want him bombing countries without permission. I don't want him trying to do these tariff deals that are completely outside of his purview. So it's like, I wish that he would just not, but if he's going to, at least he does chicken out. I don't know. He's just a loser.
So the lady in the chicken suit can actually get into detail on policy.
I can. I spend way too much time reading what's going on. It's part of why I'm out here.
So I've asked some other people when they became activists. How did they become activists? How did you become activists?
Mostly it started with the Black Lives Matter and everything. I was out at lunch with a colleague of mine. He's African American, and we got stopped by the police. He got pulled over, and the cop told him to put his hands on the steering wheel. I'm like, shit, Gary, what happened? His name was Gary also. And they came on to my side, and they're like, are you okay? And I'm like, no, I'm not fine. I'm pissed off. Why did you stop us? And he's, of course, saying, Anna, please stop talking.
Was it a situation of driving while black?
Basically, yeah.
Did you like blow a light or something?
No, we waited until it was safe to turn. Like, no, he was following all the rules.
What town was this in?
This was in Fort Mill, when I was working in Fort Mill.
Damn, I live in Fort Mill.
Yeah, we were just come back from Famous Toastery, probably not the plug that they want to have, but they had nothing to do with it. That's just where we happened to have lunch together.
So that sort of flipped your switch, and then what happened?
Then George Floyd happened, and then I dragged my daughter out to the Charlotte protest. We were living in Charlotte at the time. So if it can happen to the, because what you always hear, what I always heard growing up in my very Republican family, which I have not been Republican for quite a while, is it's only the bad people. If you do what you're supposed to do, you'll be fine. And clearly we're seeing that is not the case, but it's not being broadcast.
So you switched from Republican to progressive. I don't know if you're a Democrat, but...
No, I'm a registered Democrat, most definitely. But no, I switched back in the early 90s.
But the influences as a young person were Republican.
Yeah, most definitely.
You're in South Carolina?
North Carolina. I grew up in eastern North Carolina.
Okay, so
Yeah,
rural
it's
either
similar.
state.
Yeah, definitely.
And that was based on your family, your friends, the influences in your life.
Yep, I grew up in a military family. Both of my parents were in the military.
It's getting noisy out here. That's good.
Oh, I know. I love it. Yeah, like my parents have a picture of my dad shaking hands with Ollie North. Like Ronald Reagan could do no wrong. It's really hard to have that pulling from your eyes when you just start talking to people. Just talk outside of your normal group. Just talk to somebody, start a conversation, and you'll get so many other life experiences that don't line up with basically the bullshit we're getting fed.
All this from a lady in a chicken suit.
Hey,
All right, thank you. You still want to stay anonymous? Do you stay chicken?
No, my name is Anna Johnson. I live in Lake Wiley, and come have a conversation. I'll be here in 2 weeks.
And I support this message.
Thank you, Gary.
So 2 weeks have passed since the big No Kings.
Yes.
So there's not as many people here. You'd expect as many.
No. When we have those national ones, obviously there are going to be more. But anytime we get anybody out, I'm really excited and happy.
But I guess if you want to tell the camera, the message is, do come out.
Yeah, totally. Come out. If there are 30 people, if there are 2,500 people, if there's just us, then come out anyway. If it's hot, we got you. We've got cooling tents over here, cold water, a misting system. fans running from a battery.
And a fair amount of shade.
And great amount of shade. And today, a great amount of wind. This feels fantastic.
Yeah, it's like 95, and
Yeah.
I'm not dying.
I'm not right now. I'm not. I'll deny that I am. Let's just do that.
You're blocking some of the wind with the cape.
Yeah, it's a little warm.
Yep.
It's a little bit hot.
All right, so I'm seeing national promotions for Another No Kings on July 4th, but what are your plans? In terms of York County Rising, the official protest plans.
Well, we as York County Rising, we are not doing an official event.
We're going to be back here in 2 weeks, right here on Dave Lyle.
Absolutely, every 2 weeks, every other Saturday, 2 to 4.
See you in a couple of weeks. Because if you're not right back there, we need you here.
Okay, we're going to get to the people who are brave enough to run in just a second. But first, I would like to thank the sponsors who made this party possible. This is a big group effort. All right, gold level sponsor, Bernie Ackerman. Silver level sponsors, Harold and Jane Peoples, Punt Presto, Sloan Simpson, Chad Simpson. Round of applause for our silver level sponsors. Bronze level sponsors, Harry Dalton. And Angelo, if you are here, forgive me, I'm going to do my best. Diegas, Daniel Dunn, Doug and Sylvia Eccles, Martha Edwards, James and Mary Frances Morton, Ann Spencer, and Joe Zenick. Round of applause for those folks. And like I said, I want to thank everybody who donated, who bought a ticket, and those of you also who are just showing up day after day. We are working so hard in the Democratic Party. We're organizing our precincts. We're finding people to run for local seats. So your money is going to good use. And without any further ado, I'm going to turn it over to the first of our candidates, who by luck of the draw, Annie Andrews, alphabetically, gets to go first.
Thank you so much, Hope. Thank you. Wow, there's a lot of people back there. Good evening. I love the Gulf of Mexico shirt. Thank you all for being here. I'm so happy to be in York County. For those of you who I haven't met, I'm Dr. Annie Andrews, and I'm running to send Lindsay Graham home. And for those of you who don't know me, I am a pediatrician and a mom of 3. I live in Mount Pleasant, and I have been a doctor for my entire career. I decided to be a doctor when I was 4 years old. I told my preschool teacher, when I grow up, I want to be a doctor and a mommy with 3 kids. And I'm incredibly goal-oriented, and so that's exactly what I am today. And I love being a pediatrician. It is the absolute best job in the world. But when you go to work every day at a children's hospital, just like when you go to work every day at a public school, you see all of the systemic barriers and the policy problems that are affecting our kids and families. In a children's hospital every day, I take care of kids who are hungry, who don't know where their next meal is coming from, kids who have chronic diseases like asthma and diabetes, and their parents aren't sure if they can afford their prescription medications, kids who have to sleep overnight in the hospital alone because their parents have to work multiple jobs just to make ends meet, kids who are in the throes of a mental health crisis and can't access mental health resources in their community, and I have cared for far too many children who have been shot. So when you see that at work every day for nearly 2 decades, and you're a solutions-oriented person like I am, you start to look for problem solvers. So I looked to Columbia, South Carolina, and I looked to Washington, D.C., and you won't be surprised to hear what I found, but not too many folks are in Columbia or Washington, D.C., fighting for our kids and our families. So I got involved in an incredibly dramatic way by running for Congress against our nation's most embarrassing Congresswoman, Nancy Mace. And I deeply regret that I did not win that race. But what you will learn about me as we get to know each other over the next year is that I don't give up easily. I'm a fighter. I didn't go away when I lost, like so many politicians tend to do. I actually got much louder. And I stayed engaged in Mount Pleasant, in my community. I go to Columbia and advocate on behalf of our nation's children. I worked really hard, like so many of you did, to elect Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. And I was devastated at the results of that election. And when I finally picked myself up after realizing the reality of what is happening in this country, and I looked around, and I looked who was being nominated to fill these cabinet positions, and I looked at the attack on our democracy, I knew I couldn't stay on the sidelines. And running for office is something that I know how to do, and this is how I'm fighting. Because I understand that the reason our kids are suffering and our families are suffering to make ends meet is because there's far too many career corrupt politicians like Lindsay Graham who don't give a damn about us. All he cares about is what will get him reelected. And South Carolina deserves so much better. But we're all exhausted. We're all tired of doom scrolling. We're all tired of watching the news, hearing what's happening in the Supreme Court. So I'm going to take a minute to tell you what I will fight for. Because we need to start looking to the future. We need to get back to a time when we can feel optimistic about what is possible. And as a mom of 3 small children and a pediatrician who cares for children every day, I have no choice but to stay optimistic. And so I'm fighting for a world where gun violence is not the leading cause of death for children in this country. I'm fighting for a world where leaders take the climate crisis seriously. I'm fighting for a world where women have the right to choose. I'm fighting for a world where every child has access to a high-quality public education that teaches the full history of the United States of America. I'm fighting for a world where every child, every family, every senior has access to affordable health care. And I'm fighting for a world where I don't have to turn the TV off when my kids walk in the room because the President of the United States is on the TV doing something I don't want them to see. So I'm so happy to be here tonight. I am proud as a candidate to have the endorsement of my friend Jamie Harrison. I am here tonight to earn your all's support. We can do this. Lindsey Graham is more vulnerable than he has ever been. His approval rating is 34%. If I ever, it's 0% in this room. If I ever got 34% in a class, I would not be a doctor. So there is no reason he should be a senator. So he is vulnerable. This is a midterm election cycle. Donald Trump is not on the ballot to save him like he did in 2020. South Carolinians, even Republican South Carolinians, do not like Lindsey Graham. If we do not knock him out in 2026, he will not be on the ballot in a midterm election until 2038. This is our chance. Come on. I am deeply committed to this race. I will do everything I can. I'm here to ask for your support, and I promise you that I will work harder than anybody. I promise you that I will make you proud, and I promise you that I will send Lindsay home. Thank you so much.
To follow, but we love these strong women, don't we? All right, so next up is the U.S. House of Representative candidates. We have to go alphabetically. So, Andrew Clough. Come on down.
Going through my notes. Thank you. Hello, everybody. I'm Andrew Clough. First, I want to say thank you for having me. You know, you've all been very welcoming and wonderful. Basically, I work for American Airlines. I'm a union member, and I decided to step up and do something about it because I'm tired of seeing people struggle living paycheck to paycheck, and they don't know what it's like, you know? I see Trump talking about, like, apples at the grocery store, you know? Like, that man's ever been in a grocery store at all, you know? And they don't know what it's like to get behind bills, you know? And he has no respect for the military, you know. Veterans Affairs needs to be taken care of. I have family members buried in Arlington National Cemetery. And, you know, and the biggest reason I got into, it's hard for me to talk about, is my wife's an immigrant. She's from Mexico. It's been a struggle for her to get her residency. She has a court date, so it scares me to death, you know. But So I'm fighting for a fair immigration policy, you know. We all come from somewhere else, you know, ancestors do. And I just want to step up, and at the very least, I can get out there and do something about it. Go talk to people, you know. I'm ready to go knock on doors. I'm ready to, you know, go and talk to as many people I need to. I'll talk to all 750,000 people in the district if I have to, you know, because we need a change. We need to flip these seats. Midterms is coming up. It's very important, you know. And yeah, so I'll wrap this up now, but brief introduction, but I'm ready. My slogan's people over politics, and that's what we need, you know.
Alrighty, and alphabetically next up we have Alex Harper.
Hello everybody. I think I've met most of you. Over the course of the last 4 months, I've had the opportunity to go around and meet a very sizable amount of you, and it's been my honor to meet all of you and hear your stories, hear what you care about, and hear how you are ready to bring Ralph Norman home. For those, thank you. For those that do not know me, my name's Alex Harper. I am a prosecutor for York County. I prosecute sex crimes and crimes against children exclusively, and that is what I do every single day. I've spent my entire career since law school prosecuting crimes in York County, being a public servant in York County. But I didn't start there. I started whenever I moved here in 5th grade. I grew up in York County. I grew up in Fort Mill whenever Baxter was basically just trees. I went to elementary school, middle school, and high school, all in Fort Mill. I'm a proud benefactor. I can't even talk about it. Public education is my #1 issue. And every single time I talk about public education, I get a little bit emotional about it because of what is happening to it. The dismantling of the Department of Education, if I wasn't already radicalized and wasn't already ready to run and bring Ralph Norman home, that's what would have done it. Because my daughter goes to public education. My daughter is my North Star in everything that I do. And I am so worried that the world that she is inheriting will be worse than the world that I grew up in. It will be worse, not just from a public education standpoint, but every single way that we can measure how good of a world, how good of a country my daughter is going to grow up in, it's worse than the way that I was brought up. And I'm not going to stand for it. And so in November, when Trump somehow got back in the White House, I thought to myself, what can I do about it? What is my role in this process? What can I do to make the world better for my daughter and for other people's children? And it's to stand up and do something. It's to talk to people where they are, find out what they need, and then go to Washington and give it to them. Ralph Norman is the second most conservative member of Congress, and everything that he does reflects that. This big, beautiful bill that they're talking about, where he says that the only things he's going to cut from Medicaid are the waste, fraud, and abuse, is baloney. He then goes on TV and says that Medicaid and Medicare are a cancer to our country that needs to be cut out entirely because you don't leave any cancer in the body. 60% of our births come from Medicaid. 60% of our parents' beds in nursing homes are paid for by Medicaid. That is not a cancer. What is a cancer are people in Washington who want to take medicine, take education, take opportunities away from people, and I'm not going to let it happen anymore. Republicans in Congress like to say that due process and Medicaid and preserving our systems are an 80-20 issue. If due process is an 80-20 issue to them, they have no place in government. If caring for our children is an 80-20 issue to them, they don't belong anywhere near our politics. And in November, we are going to ride a wave of success. And you heard from Annie Andrews, who is running for Senate. We're going to take Lindsay Graham out of here. In 26, we're going to run for governor. We've got a guy named Jermaine Johnson who's already running, and he's an excellent candidate who's going to get the governor's mansion back in Democratic control. We have bringing up all over the place to run for Congress, and we are going to ride that wave all the way to Washington, and I am so excited that all of you have been such an inspiration to me and will push me along towards that. I cannot do it without you, and you inspire me every day. My name's Alex Harper, and I'm running for Congress.
Alrighty, to close things out, a final word from our chair, Miss Nikita Jackson.
Listen, y'all, I am so overjoyed and overwhelmed with the turnout of today. Thank you. This is what a damn good of a time looks like, y'all. And just know that there are more to come of these spectacular events, fundraisers, to help support our party so that we can help support the candidates that are running in your county so that we can move your county in a different direction. So thank you wholeheartedly for participating in this fundraising event. Thank you for coming out. It's not the end, but somebody did tell me some rain is about to come. So if that's the case, we're going to go inside. But with that being said, we have one more fundraiser that's going to take place on October the 4th. I'm not putting him on the spot, but he's already said that this event is going to take place. Perkins, can you stand up, please? Over here. Please make yourselves available. We will be having another fundraiser event at Perk's house. He lives in Western York County. What we're trying to do is we're trying to get all of our precincts organized so that we can help the candidates that are currently vying for a seat on these tickets so that we can encourage them and help them to win. So if you're not a part of your precinct, please reach out so that you know who your precinct president is so that we can connect y'all so that we can help our candidates while they're on the ticket. It's going to take all of us working together, and y'all working together works. Look at this event. Look at all of y'all that's out here today. This is what happens when you work together. So please, if you're not, if you don't know who your precinct president is, please reach out to the headquarters. Our headquarters are open Wednesday and Fridays from 12 until 4 p.m. We can have it open more if we have a lot of action going on. So if you want to come by and volunteer, you're more than welcome to do so then. Also, we are looking to have candidates on the ticket. Democrats can win if we're not on the ticket. So we have elections coming up this November. If you know someone who is willing to put their name on the ballot and to work on behalf of the people, please ask them to contact us so that we can work with them to ensure that they have a fighting chance. So our goal and our mission at this point is to have all of our 100 precincts organized. And we do have that. We have about half of them organized right about now. So y'all, if people say the Dems in York County aren't working, they're lying because we're getting our precincts organized. And the other thing, we need to get Democrats on the ticket. In every municipality, there is a seat for a Democrat to be on the ticket. And that's what we're working on, not having a race be uncontested this election period. So please help us do all that we can to ensure that we have a Democrat on the ticket this November. I'm not going to hold you any longer because the rain is about to come, so let's go ahead and head inside and have another good dim of a time.
All right, going to wrap up the program from back here in Rock Hill because that keeps me from having to warm up the studio camera. just being lazy. If you made it to this part of the program, you're something special. Not very many people make it toward the end of any YouTube programs. I see the statistics, I can tell. So I'd like to thank you for doing that. I would like to ask you a favor to tell other people about the program from the York County Democratic Party, our YouTube show on YCDP TV. If you've got something that you would like to get on the channel, let me know. YCDPTV@gmail.com. And my name is Gary Pearce. And that will be it for this episode of the York County Democratic Party's YouTube show and podcast. Yes, we call it YCDP. Get that thing out of here. TV.